What's up, everybody? It's Carmelo Anthony. You're watching JRSportBrief.
So Aspen Dental, legendary moments, and we have Mr. P.J. Carlesimo here, Seton Hall University, Big East, currently of that team out in Brooklyn that's doing pretty well right now, the Brooklyn Nets. How's everything? You doing well?
Excellent, Jay. Very well. No complaints.
Good. Now, we're in tournament time right now. We're going to talk about a few things, including the Nets, but right now, we want to talk about a legendary moment that stands out to you. I know you at Seton Hall for what, about a
12 years.
82, 90?
82 to 94. You got it.
Okay, I try. What is a big moment that stood out to you in your career as a college coach?
Well, probably the biggest was our trip to the national championship game in '89. We got beat in the national championship game in overtime by 1 point against Michigan. That was probably the biggest one away from here. But most of our big moments were either in the Meadowlands where we played at home or Madison Square Garden where the Big East tournament was every year. A lot of nostalgia, a lot of great memories.
Now, in regards to that, this being the last one, what do you think about the whole realignment and teams going and coming?
Well, selfishly, I don't like it. I mean, you know, back when we were in the league, there was 8 and then there was 9 teams. And the good thing about that was everybody played everybody else. You played 16 games.
Right.
It was a double round robin. You know, you went to the same buildings every year. The rivalries, I think, were better because it was the same schools. What's happened in college sports, the leagues have gotten bigger and bigger, and when you got a league that has 15, 16, 14 teams in it, everybody can't play everybody twice, and I think the rivalries suffer a little bit. And the geography also has gotten crazy.
I think it's about a team will travel 2,000 miles now to play one team here on the East Coast.
Well, we were lucky. We were kind of dead in the middle.
Right.
You know, we had Syracuse was up to the north and mainly Georgetown. There was a couple years where Miami was in, but we were kind of in the middle of everything. But most of the trips were good trips, and that enabled the students to go. If students wanted to drive, I mean, it was only a couple hours to Syracuse. It was 4 or 5 hours to Pitt. It was 3 hours to Georgetown. So you could get to all the games. That really made a difference. Now, primarily because of football, the leagues are all over the place. And it's, you know, to call it the Big East is almost a joke, all the teams that are in it right now. It really was an Eastern Conference in those days.
PJ said it, not JR. But on a side note, having so much coaching experience, A, from the college level, B, to professionally, how do those experiences differ? Is it really stand outish working with youngsters as opposed to some of the NBA players who are young now as well?
Well, it's different type. I always liken it to, it's like teaching in college or teaching in grad school. The people you're teaching are a little bit smarter, they're a little more talented. You only get the better students. Like, you know, in college, sometimes you got a challenge. You got people that don't know their material as well as they should. Right. The assumption, if it's grad school, is they know what they're doing. You got to get them to play. So in a sense, it's an easier kind of coaching. The talent level of our players, I mean, arguably we have the best 450 players in the world.
On the planet.
There's 30 teams, 15 guys on a team, and money's not an obstacle. So, they're out, they're searching. This should be most of the best players in the world. So the biggest difference, though, is in college, there's so many other aspects to your job. First of all, you got to recruit. Secondly, when the players are there, you got to make sure they go to class. Graduating, of course, is important. Summer jobs, raise money for the school, represent the university at alumni functions, things of that nature. In the NBA, you do one thing. You just get ready for the next game. You get ready for the next practice. You get ready for the next game. So it's so much more a narrow focus. So if you like basketball, which obviously we all do, you got to enjoy it because that's all you do.
So with all your other responsibilities as a college coach, is there an experience that you had to go through or that you just went through or touched upon that kind of shaped the rest of your coaching career?
Yeah, I think growing up, we all, it's funny, there's a group of us that started here in the mid-'70s, and we were young, little punks really that thought we knew what we were doing. We all had our first head jobs, but when you look back, you didn't realize at the time because they were all buddies, but Jimmy Valvano was at Iona, Mike Krzyzewski was at West Point, Gary Williams was at American University, Rick Pitino was at BU, Jimmy Boeheim was at Syracuse, but they were all just starting in those days. And the good news was we could play each other, we could make mistakes. Jimmy Calhoun was at Northeastern. We'd all play each other twice a year. You had these great rivalries. but there was only 500 or 1,000
Right.
people in the stands, and
Right.
you could make mistakes and you could get a little bit better at your craft, and you could learn, what it was like to, how important it was to help take care. When you go recruit a high school player, oftentimes that's the first time they're living away from home.
Right.
There's nobody waking them up, making sure they do this, making sure they do that. So it's a real formative time in their lives. So you get to the point where you realize you really are responsible for these 12 or 15 players kind of 24/7. So going to class, summer jobs, making sure they behave, how they dress, how they act. It's a great time to be interacting with young men. Well, I loved coach. I did it for 23 years. I loved every day I was in college, and I didn't really think I would go to the pros. And then when I got the opportunity, it surprised me because there's aspects about the NBA we talked about. You love the nothing but basketball,
Right.
but you miss the relationships.
Got it. And I'm pretty sure you're building and using all those same building blocks with the Brooklyn Nets. And how do you feel about the team and where you guys are going? We're almost crunch time here.
Well, we like where we're at right now. We've come a long way. The team is so dramatically different. We got a new owner, Michael Prokhorov, who obviously has put a lot of money into the program. Billy King, our general manager, they signed Joe Johnson over the summer. We also picked up a number of acquisitions that have really helped us.
Guys are sitting in where?
We're fourth right now in the East, which is great.
But there's a team in front of you right now, New York Knickerbockers.
4 great games with the Knicks. We split 2-2. There's a chance we'll meet in the playoffs, but it's going to be a great rivalry for whatever reason. When the Nets were in Jersey, the rivalry didn't seem quite the same. I think for now, Barclays
River.
Center in Brooklyn,
East
the Garden
River.
in Manhattan, you got the two boroughs against each other. Our team is obviously a lot better than it was the last couple of years. The roster's totally different. So I think the rivalry is very good right now. It's only going to get better going forward.
Well, you certainly bring a lot of coaching acumen to JR Sport Brief right now. Mr. Carlesimo, we appreciate your legendary moments.